That's the whole reason that people are buying gold. The reason they're buying silver. By the way, during the week, silver got above $39 an ounce, right? We're almost at 40. I think we're going to be above 40 shortly. This is the first time since, I think, 2012 that silver got above 39. It pulled back slightly. I mean, I think it closed the week, around 38 and a half. Yet silver stocks are still maybe more than 10% below their peak. That's how much they pulled back on a tiny 1.5% correction in the price of silver. You got a dumping of silver stocks, which had made new 52-week highs as silver went up. And then, of course, it's very weak hands in the gold and silver mining stocks. People still don't have the conviction of this trade. It's climbing a wall of worry, and there's tremendous amount of worry on this wall, which is why I think these stocks are still great buys. Platinum almost hit 1,500. You remember, on my podcast, I specifically told people a couple months ago, when platinum was still below 1,000, I said, you got to buy it. Buy platinum. I said, gold is 3 times the price of platinum. Platinum's risen 50%. That was a great trade. Now, I think platinum may pull back a little bit more. I still like the silver trade better because I think that's going to explode. And I think once it goes to 40, the move to 50 can be very quick. But in the meantime, gold has been going sideways. It's like 3,350, 3,400. I mean, it's been trending sideways because the NASDAQ has been making new highs. It made a new high last week. The S&P made new all-time highs. In fact, on Friday, the S&P and the NASDAQ made new record highs. Now, they didn't close there. They actually closed slightly negative on the day, but they still printed new highs. That's why the interest in gold has temporarily taken a back seat. And that's really what's driving crypto. It's the appetite for risk assets. Gold has been going sideways. And in that environment, Bitcoin has risen along with the NASDAQ and all this extra hype surrounded by crypto week. But getting back to this stablecoin. So the stablecoins are not going to save the dollar because they don't increase the appeal of the dollar. People are saying, well, everyone's just going to use these stable coins in global commerce, and so that's going to create a need for the dollar. They're not going to use these coins. If the world is de-dollarizing, then they're going to de-dollar stable coin too. They don't care. They don't care how you wrap up the dollar, what kind of fancy packaging you want to put around a dollar. At the end of the day, it's still a dollar. And if I don't want the dollar because the U.S. is running huge budget deficits and huge trade deficits and imposing these tariffs, then why the hell am I going to want a U.S. dollar stablecoin? I am not. I mean, ultimately, the way crypto is going, the way this thing ends up is if you want a stablecoin, you can't have a U.S. dollar coin because it's not stable because there's no stability to the dollar, right? Why do you want to hitch your boat to a sinking ship? Right? You're going to sink with it. Makes no sense. So if you really want a stable coin, you need something stable to anchor it. And that's gold. And there's no talk about that. But that's where the stable coin should be headed. Gold-backed stable coins. Tokenized gold. That makes perfect sense. To tokenize US dollars makes no sense at all. What is the benefit of that? What is the benefit of holding a stable coin and earning no interest? I mean, hell, I could put my money in a money market fund and earn 4.5. Why do I want to put it in a stable coin and earn nothing? I've got plenty of liquidity in my money market. I could write checks. I could send ACH transfers. I could use my debit card. I could fund a PayPal or Venmo or a Zelle. Why the hell would I need a stable coin and give up all that interest and let the issuer earn all the interest instead of me? Makes no sense. The main purpose of stable coins is to trade crypto, to trade Bitcoin. I don't care about trading Bitcoin because I don't trade it. So why do I need a stable coin? But I can see the benefit of a stable coin backed by gold because there, right, it's not easy to use gold as a medium of exchange the way it is dollars. But if you tokenize it, it's very easy. Now, gold can be held by a custodian who can issue tokens. And now we can use those tokens to buy and sell stuff. We can use it as a medium of exchange. We can make instant payments around the world at basically no cost or practically no cost at the speed of light. So there is a viable reason to tokenize gold. And gold's not really paying interest anyway. So if I'm going to store my gold and I'm not going to earn any interest, well, why not store it in a stable coin where I don't earn any interest, but I get all the added convenience? I mean, that's how all the crypto people are constantly criticizing gold because they say, well, you can't use it to make payments. Oh, yes, you can. I mean, you could use it even without tokenization. But yes, I agree. If I want to buy something from somebody in Indonesia tonight and I want to pay for it, I can't really send them some gold physically. But if I had a gold token, a token that was issued that I can then transfer to that person in Indonesia, and I can transfer the ownership of the gold that never moves, right? That's the same concept as a stable coin backed by U.S. treasuries. The treasuries don't move, right? The dollars don't move. What moves is the token that corresponds to ownership of those treasuries, of those dollars, not really the treasuries because you don't get any interest, but the dollars that are there. I can do the same thing with gold, but that makes sense. So we can conduct global payments in U.S. dollars, in gold with tokens that are tied to and back to gold. So that's what makes sense. That's what nobody is talking about other than me. And of course, they're trying to tout these stable coins as the salvation of the dollar. Right? That's the biggest BS, to say that, oh, these stable coins are going to save the dollar because they're denominated in dollars. Well, so what? There's nothing that stops anybody anywhere in the world from issuing a stable coin that's denominated or backed by euros or Swiss francs or yen or Australian dollars or any of these currencies. So what's so special about a dollar stable coin? Absolutely nothing. People are saying that, oh, this is going to help create demand for treasuries because the issuers of stable coins are going to buy treasuries. Sure, they're going to buy treasuries, but that's not going to be enough to offset all the treasuries that China and Japan and Saudi Arabia and everybody else are no longer buying, let alone selling. And again, the stability of a dollar stable coin rests on the stability of the dollar. So at the end of the day, if people are losing confidence in the dollar, they're not going to buy dollar stable coins. Another thing I wanted to talk about that was a big deal this week were the passage of that Genius Act. President Trump made a big deal praising all of the crypto people when he signed that. There's a couple more bills. They call this Crypto Week because there's some other bills. There's 3 bills in total that are basically a payoff to the crypto industry for all the money they spent helping to elect not only Donald Trump, but other members of Congress. A lot of money has been donated to these PACs that then give money to congressmen, senators on both sides of the aisle to be favorable towards Bitcoin and crypto. And so a lot of coverage of Crypto Week and of these bills. In fact, Bitcoin, I think the record high that I saw for Bitcoin was about $123,000 per Bitcoin. It pulled back to about 116,000 or so before gaining some support and bouncing, but not making a new high. Interestingly enough, though, as high as Bitcoin got in dollars, it never made a new high in euros, and it hasn't made a new high in Swiss francs. Now, I'm not saying that that's not impossible. It may do that, but it hasn't done that yet. So a lot of this is also dollar weakness, which is why Bitcoin made a new high, but also because I think that Bitcoin is becoming more and more concentrated in America. It's almost like, the new American pastime, other than baseball. It's now crypto. And more of the crypto ownership is being concentrated in Americans. And of course, more of it is being concentrated in Wall Street, right? It's owned by ETFs. It's owned by Bitcoin treasury companies. In fact, now you've got Ethereum treasury companies. Ether, I think, had an even bigger week finally than Bitcoin, and a lot of other altcoins, because of these bills that go way beyond Bitcoin. And I don't even think there's that much legislative significance of any of these bills. I think the primary purpose of all this legislation is basically to clothe Bitcoin and crypto, right, in the trappings of legitimacy. By having the government pass all this legislation, the crypto industry can use this legislation to try to get people to buy Bitcoin and other tokens. That's the whole part of legitimizing it. You see, the government has embraced Bitcoin and crypto. Donald Trump is the Bitcoin president. We're going to make Bitcoin, or the U.S., the crypto capital of the world, so you got to buy. In fact, they're really trying to get Wall Street, I think I read that they did something to allow like 401k plans to buy Bitcoin or other crypto tokens, trying to get Wall Street to recommend that their clients put money into Bitcoin, which is something that by and large they're not doing. I mean, I think in general, Wall Street is afraid to touch this. But this is what the industry wants. And I think that's really what all of this legislation is designed to do. It's just to create additional credibility, get the U.S. government, the U.S. Congress to embrace and promote Bitcoin so that you get more institutional ownership. So you get more investors buying it in their IRAs, in their 401ks, through these ETFs, through these companies, which ironically is the exact opposite of the intended purpose of Bitcoin, right? They're not really appealing to the guy who wants to be outside the system, who wants to be more anonymous and, basically stick it to the man, self-custody, your own private key. It's all about appealing to the masses through Wall Street. And what is the pitch? What is the crypto industry trying to sell investors? You're going to get rich, right? This Bitcoin is going to go to the moon. 1 million, 10 million, who knows? So you buy Bitcoin to get rich. You don't buy Bitcoin to escape the system, to get out of the system. No, you want to be a part of the system. This is just how to milk the system for as much money as possible, because this is where everybody's going to go. Right? We're all going to be buying Bitcoin. All the big banks, all the Wall Street banks, the government, right? All those institutions that supposedly we don't like and we don't trust. That's why we want to buy Bitcoin, because they're all on board now, the Bitcoin train, right? So you got to hop on board or you're going to have fun staying poor. So we'll see if this, again, I keep saying maybe we've topped out. Maybe this is a sign of a blow off top, the end of this bubble when you've got so much hype. Bitcoin got to 123,000, but at the end of the day, that's not really much higher than it was earlier in the year, given all this nonsense.